right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's Blab with Karen Yankovich, our Get Seen, Be Heard. I'm so excited to come here every week and just share exciting things that are happening in PR and social media and how you can use those together just to have this great big megaphone to get seen and be heard. So, hi, Karen.
Hey, hi, everybody. Good to be here again with you all. Love my Tuesday afternoons hanging out with you guys.
I know, or Thursdays.
Thursday, right. One of those 2 days.
Karen just got back from Florida again. So
yeah.
She's probably adjusting to the cold.
I know, I still have sun on the brain.
I know. Whatever. So we always like to start and kind of share some things going on in our industry. So Karen, what's going on in social media?
All right. You guys all have seen them, right? Those Facebook, emotions now, right? We can now, the word just went right out of my head, but now we can tell people we love, or we're sad, or we're disappointed. There's a whole bunch of them. And I kind of like them. I've seen a lot of good and bad on there. And I actually saw someone today write something about how, now that we can really elaborate on our emotions on Facebook, on these little buttons, we really have to kind of steel ourselves even more to realizing that it's kind of not real life. You know what I mean? And not take things personally. If somebody says something, gives you a sad face emotion on something, right? Which I thought was kind of interesting, but I kind of like.
I was going to ask you, I haven't done any yet because I did a like, and then there was a little heart there, and so I haven't done much with it.
Right. So when you hover over the like, a little strip will pop up with some options. And actually, Christina, it's a funny story. Yesterday, so Christina has a previous business partner, Barbara, who I've been doing some work with social media, and I'm working on her with her Facebook page yesterday morning, and I'm talking to her and her assistant on the phone, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Wait, what is that? How come I can get a heart? And they were like laughing. I'm like, hold on. We need to rewind here. I don't even know what just happened. So we kind of live on a client call. I'm like going, okay, cool. How do we use these things now? So, I think I don't know why that's big news.
Sure. Well, people have said for years they wanted an unlike button.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of unlike buttons. I don't know. Say something nice or don't say anything at all, I don't know. But we'll see how it plans out, right? I haven't seen anything, I haven't seen anything that worries me.
Is it all happy stuff? Like I just saw the hearts.
There's a couple different faces. No, there's a sad face. I think there's a tear. There's a angry face or something.
Okay.
There's a couple of ones that I can't imagine using. But maybe I will.
We'll see. I'll test it later tonight.
I just keep using the heart. I just keep using the heart. Over and over.
That's good.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Me too. So what's going on with you, Christina? What's happening okay.
Yeah,
what did you do last week, Christina?
If you tuned in last Thursday, I was in a little alcove in a bank in New York City, like trying to scoop up Starbucks' Wi-Fi so I could do the blab. But I went to New York to do some guerrilla marketing, and oh my goodness, it panned out. I got to the Today Show very early. Savannah Guthrie is in a boot, and a medical boot, and my other company I have fashion accessories for medical boots, and I tried to get on the Today Show conventionally, but it's sweeps time, so they're not going to put a product on. So I went with my poster and my boot, and even though they told me, we can't show you, we can't talk about this, it's all, we can't, divine intervention, but I ended up getting 49 seconds of clips. I was on 3 different times. Savannah Guthrie came over, took a picture with me, and I was interviewed for Today Show Radio on Sirius that ran all day.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, like panning in on my poster with my company name and website and just holding it there. Karen, sorry.
Yeah. And then I loved her comment. She's like, everybody's talking about pimping their ride. I'm going to pimp my boot, I thought that was amazing. A great comment.
Amazing. So, I added up, it was probably $100,000 in free advertising.
That's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
So did your sales, did you see
I've seen a consistent uptick, and obviously it's a very niche product. But it's going to be one of those things, Karen, you'll have a friend. I mean, you know me, but if you had just seen that on the Today Show and there would be, oh, I saw that, I need to go order that. And I mean, you type in medical boot and I come up on page 1.
Right, exactly. Well, Heather, who's usually here, I don't see her here today. Heather said the same thing. She's like, "Oh, I sent my friend your website. She's in a booth, and I sent her the website."
So yeah, it's definitely, and the website hits totally spiked on Friday. It was the most I had probably ever seen. Yeah, so
that's awesome. That's awesome. And for those of you that weren't here last week, basically Christina just decided to get on a bus with a life-size picture of Savannah Guthrie in a cardboard, or like.
And I just did a blog post that'll come out on Tuesday, but it ended up being paper. And New York City is a very windy place, so I'm trying to hold my 4-foot poster, and the wind is going.
Which you took on a bus from Washington D.C.
I did
to New York City. To just show up at 5 a.m. at the Today Show. And you know what? That's exactly why we're here. To kind of teach you guys this. I mean, what did it cost you? The bus fare, hotel room?
That's my whole blog post. Would you expose your business to 7 million potential customers for less than $200? I said, it's a good thing I like pizza and bagels because I have cheap food. But I Googled cheap hotel rooms in New York City. I got a 4.5-star hotel, the most gorgeous hotel ever, 3 blocks from Rockefeller Center for $99.
Oh my God.
$99. It's called City Club. It's a boutique hotel.
Yeah. That's a great
gorgeous. $99.
Well, speaking of New York City, our guest today, Jenny Powers, is a New York City entrepreneur legend. Jenny, I'm going to let you do an introduction, but Jenny is the founder of an organization called Running with Heels. And I met Jenny. Jenny and I have kind of known each other. We were both bloggers for the Daily Worth. And then we ran into each other at Lorena Morales' event a couple of months ago. And then, then I spoke at one of her events, and now I would like to have her here. So, but I really love what she does to support entrepreneurs in their efforts to get seen and be heard and to really get their message out there. So I wanted her to join us today. So Jenny, thanks for being here.
I'm delighted to be here. It's only my second time on Blab, and both times have been with you.
Perfect.
So far, so good. And I think, what I say about Running with Heels is I create women's networking events for women who hate networking. Because so many of us do hate networking. And it's got, even the word networking is kind of cringeworthy. So, our entire platform is based on what not to do. And so far working, we're 4 years in business.
Right.
Wow. So what is it?
Wow. And you know what I love about your business, Jenny, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the model, but what I love about your business is that you keep it kind of like behind you need to be invited wall, right? Which I think that's really interesting because a lot of us are out there just kind of throwing ourselves out there saying, come, fill up, everybody show up. And you're like, no. You need to be invited. And yet you fill up. So tell us a little bit about that.
I think it goes without saying, but I will say it. Anytime you tell a woman she can't have anything, you will bet she will find a way to get it. I mean, look at Christina getting on a bus, definitely and getting all this amazing advertising. So especially in New York, you tell a woman that there's a red velvet rope, she will find a way to get on that invitation list, to purchase a membership. When I initially came up with the idea of Running with Heels, I didn't necessarily know it was going to be invitation only. And I started talking to people about what I was thinking of doing and how I wanted it to be intimate, because I found so many of these events I was going to, and there were throngs of people just thrusting their card. And it was like, this herd of cattle. So I knew I wanted it to be small, and I was telling someone about it, and they just said to me, "Oh, so how do you get invited?" And I thought, invited? Yeah. Oh. And it was literally from that one woman saying that I said, you know what? I grew up in New York. I remember standing behind those red velvet ropes for those clubs. And even though we could get into a club 3 feet away, we waited online in the cold for the one that told us no until they let us in. So there's something to it. And it also makes women realize that not everybody is getting let in. It's not like if you've got $20, you can just pay at the door and show up. Our events are a little higher priced. They're cut off at 30 women for a dinner party and less than that for a luncheon. So really people come in and say, I'm going to have an authentic conversation with qualified people, and I'm going to focus on likability before profitability. And it's been great. We have an amazing community of women that have each other's back because of it.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in person, and it was really great. And I agree with you, Jenny. You know, with networking, you know, I've heard the rule of thumb, and it certainly has been true for me. If you walk away from a networking event with one solid contact, that was a very successful networking event. If you walk away with 30, you're never going to follow up on them, right? But if you walk away with one solid contact, so you're right. You go to these huge events, and you're not really sure who to talk to. And here's the thing I like about what you just said: you also don't know who, like. And not that, you know, like who these people are, right? You don't know if they've got a business, if they've got, you know, you don't really know a lot about what they've got going. So I like that you kind of pre-qualify people, because I know if I go to one of your events that everybody in there is somebody that I'm interested in talking to. You know, and I'm not going to get sat down next to somebody who's going to go rattling off about, I'm actually thinking about it, a Facebook of I don't, Nicole Laloy is not here. She's actually in Mexico right now, but I was at a networking event with Nicole Laloy, who's a good friend of mine and also an entrepreneur. And so she's a therapist, and there's this guy that I just couldn't shake, and he kept talking about his therapy business. And I finally said, you really need to talk to Nicole, because I totally hung her out. I totally threw her under the bus, but I just like, she's a therapist and she's going to love the things you have to say. She looks at me like, what? And I just had to I couldn't get rid of him. And I wasted a ton of time at that event. Talking to that kind of stuff.
No, you know, when I started, I launched a focus group, and the only criteria was that you had to be a woman, a working woman that hated networking. And you can imagine, they were like banging down the door. We had to do like a cutoff at a certain point. And one of the things that women said is, I either get stuck talking to the wrong people, or I don't know who to talk to, and it's just awkward. It's kind of like, you know, being picked last in that gym class. You're kind of waiting around, you know, somebody talk to me, and then when they talk to you, it's probably the wrong person. So what I do is, once you're invited into our community, I pre-match you at our event. So you're sitting with a group of people, awesome, you know, between 4 and 5 women at each course of a 3-course dinner. So you're rotating. So even if you're talking to someone that you don't have anything in common with, and you really feel like, okay, time to move on, once I ring that bell, you're going to be moving on. You know, and there's other people at the table. So you're going to leave with between 12 and 15 legitimate contacts that you've had authentic conversations with. So I do the moving around so that I eliminate that awkwardness.
And I love that, because the thing I despise about networking, and I'm really involved in my chamber. Like, I help put on the women's conference, and I do so much stuff. So I go to these events, and everybody's like, me. This is, you should hire me. You should do this. And I'm like, are we supposed to be like, you know, talking it? Like, I'm one of these people that, you know, I might connect you with somebody else. Like, we might not have anything to do with that, but if you're not listening to what that person does or could need or use, and that's all they care about, like, buy from me, here's my card, here's this. It's like, well, whoa, you know, let's build a relationship first. You know, let's date a little before we.
Exactly. Well, I always say, you know, you're not there to close a sale. You're there to open a relationship.
Yeah.
And people often forget that and just come in like, buy, me. Totally.
Yeah. And that's, I love what you're doing. So how many women do you have at an event? Did you say 30?
Yeah. So at the dinners, it's 30. At the lunches, you know, usually we cap them at like 12 to 15, because the lunches are workshops where you're really rolling up your sleeves and learning something. Like yesterday, we had a create Facebook ads and Instagram ads for your business.
Wow.
But that one was so popular, we ended up with 23 women. We do special events like wine tour, wine tastings and sushi makings.
Very cool.
We've got something called Network Out, where you work out as a group and then network in the morning. So, but we really cap ourselves at 30 to make sure it's nice and intimate, and we don't feel like it's a mob scene.
And do you limit, you know, like, do you not have 2 social media people there, or 2, you know, whatever? So you have a good mix of different businesses?
You know, we always have a great diversity of everything from a reality show to doula who's delivered, like, you know, the most babies in New York. But that being said, it's not like, you know, BNI, I know, is like that, where it's like one person per profession. We don't do that, because I feel like women need to learn that it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. So I don't mind having 2 real estate brokers together, because at one point, one might want to go over to the other's firm. One might want to co-broker a deal. You know, one might be on leave and be able to pass the business over. So I try and eliminate that feeling of like, she can't be here because she's my competition.
It's funny that you say that, because Karen and I have we've brought in other LinkedIn experts. We brought in other PR people. And Karen, I don't even know if I told you this, but we have a guest coming up who has been in my industry longer than I have. And I have followed her for a long time. And we actually got on a phone call, and we do the exact same thing, but slightly differently. And we realized that she offers a product that I don't offer, and I offer something she doesn't offer, but our audiences are perfect for one another because they're interested in this DIY PR. So I'm going to send out to my list her soundbite course, because I don't teach. I mean, I talk about it briefly, but to really do it. And she doesn't offer media contacts at all. And I have a whole package on that. So she's going to send that out to her list. So
I love it.
Well, Christina, that's really interesting, because I saw her name so Christina and I are working on a project together. So we have a Google sheet where we've got all of our notes, and I saw her name on that Google sheet, and I was like, well, that's really interesting. I wonder what that's all about. But I figured we'd get to it eventually.
She's all excited about something Karen and I have coming up here in the future so you're right. And I say this a lot when I speak, that is the one thing that women do very differently than men in business is we collaborate. Even with our biggest competitor, like we can find a way to work together. The pie is so big. I can't service 1 million clients. I would love to, but I can't do it. So why not find the holes in each other's businesses and be able to refer people you like and, work together. And it's just such a win-win.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
And, here in New York, there are so many different networking events and plenty of women's networking events. So what I did a couple of years ago is I reached out to every one of them and said, look, you may see me as the competition. I don't see you that way. There's enough women in New York that we can satisfy all of them. We can accommodate all of them. And we're not, in some cases, we were doing the same thing. And it was silly because we were recycling the same speakers. We were calling the same venues, and the venues were like, weren't you just here last week? Oh, that must have been another women's group. There was an overlap in the people we were targeting. But at the same time, some of us I cater to executive women and business owners. A friend of mine only caters to, over 40 females.
Right.
Another one is the Three Tomatoes, who is 50 females. Another one is Levo League, which is like 20 and 30-year-olds. So we're all catering to a different group. And if we know it, when somebody reaches out to us that may not be the greatest fit, I'm very happy to find a spot for them in a different organization that better suits their needs.
Oh, that's great.
That is great. So tell us a little bit, Jenny, about what happens to the women that start to come to these meetings, and how do your networking events support them in their businesses?
Oh, I love that question. So when I get testimonials, I swear I'm like, people are going to think I'm making these up because I remember my first event, and none of the women knew each other. I mean, I didn't even know them really. And at the end of the event, like 2.5 hours later, they were hugging each other goodbye. I heard one of them say, "Oh, goodbye, I love you." And I remember having seated them together. And I said, "Oh my God, I didn't know you guys knew each other. I'm so sorry that I put you together." And they said, "We didn't." And I said, "But you just said you love her." And she was like, "I love her because I just met her and she's amazing." So right away, it was like this just organic support where women are like, I want to help you. I want to be your ambassador. So they've become accountability partners to one another. They have supported one another. They have become, partners and sponsors. So everything you can name, from somebody finding an apartment through one of them to one of them's a broker, and she sends thank you cards to everyone. And she was sitting with a customized stationer who all of a sudden made all of her custom stationery for the year. So things that you would never even think were possible. They co-sponsor events together. They're on social media together. One of the testimonials I saw that I loved was a woman said in one event, and again, disclaimer, this doesn't happen all the time, but one woman said, in one event, I ended up getting $20,000 worth of business, and also finding like 2 clients, a coach, a dog walker. I mean, it was like it went on and on. So you just never know what's going to happen. And that's what I love about it. I love hearing these stories.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Jenny, I was only been at that one event, the lunch event, and I'm still in touch with several of the people at that event. And my house in the middle of nowhere is for sale. And my intention is to be on a train line that I can more easily get to New York City. So when that happens, I'll reach out to you and hope I can get an invite to one of your other
on the list.
events. But honestly, it was a great event. And as Jenny said, it was a workshop, and she mentioned that the only other blab she was on with me when we left that workshop, I was like, yeah, we're going to blab this week. Cause we were talking about live streaming. We were talking about Periscope, and blab came up. So, we just kind of, ad hoc just scheduled a blab so people can test it out in a safe kind of environment. And it was a really good group. I was really impressed.
Yeah. And two of them are avid, like regular scopers now because of you.
I know. I remember that. I've seen them, and they messaged me initially about keep an eye out for it. But now I see them all the time.
Regulars
so
now, it's great.
So what?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So how do you just do the lunches and the dinners, or do you do events?
Yeah, so we do lunches, dinners, we do special events. And the newest thing that we just launched in January are called Running with Circles. And they're essentially a mastermind accountability circle. And women join them. It's 4 women per group. And it's a 6-month program. It's live. So once a month, they come together in New York. Because we're sort of beta testing it now, I'm the facilitator. So we've got, a meeting room, we've got dinner, and it's a 3-hour deep dive into 4 women's businesses. And after the second meeting with each other, these women were like sisters. I mean, they've got a private Facebook group, and I can't even keep up with them. They're in it all day. They're meeting with each other. They're supporting one another. They become clients of one another. So we just launched the first 2 circles, and they have been so incredible. I mean, already after the first meeting, someone gave me a testimonial. I was like, they're going to think you completed the 6 months. You've been with us for 3 hours. So that's the newest thing that we're working on, the circles.
Yeah, and that's great. And it's just something about women and collaboration. And Karen and I talk about how we met. She heard me on a podcast and reached out to me, and we, it was kind of test the waters a little bit. And I went to New York and did an event with them. And now this has evolved. What's it been? 2 years now, I guess.
It might not even be 2 years, because I actually
year and a half. And now we have this whole brand, Get Seen, Be Heard, and we're launching this huge product probably April or May that we're doing together, and it's just amazing. But yeah,
it's great.
But the power of 2 is so much bigger than each of us were individually.
Absolutely. And one of the things I think is so funny is years ago, you would say, oh, how did you meet someone? And you'd say, oh, I went to school with them, or my friend introduced me. Now it's always this like roundabout explanation that are like, how did you even have this happen? I mean, Karen and I are a perfect example. We had like our written bylines crossing on thedailywork.com.
That's just crazy.
I went to this event, and she was one of the speakers, and I was like, wait a minute, I know that name. And it was because when our columns came out, we were always, side by side. And I went up to her. We started talking. The next thing you know, she's hosting one of the Running with Heels Periscope trainings. And then I'm on Blab, and here I am again. So it's really amazing. You can't connect the dots with a straight line anymore.
And you know what I think, Jenny? I think one of the important things about that, which I think is also a kind of like a byproduct of your groups, is that we kind of went into that with no expectation. It was just like, yeah, let's see how this goes. Like, it's not like, well, wait a minute, I don't want to spend any time with you, but I'm not really sure how you're going to benefit me yet. It was more like, let's just talk. Let's see where this goes. I'll support you. You support me. And then and that's how our businesses grow. And I agree with you. I'm not really man bashing here, but I definitely think women do that better than men. Men, I have men that are clients, and they're like so afraid of LinkedIn. They're like, everyone's going to know who all my clients are. Like,
I speak all the time.
So what? You have 500 plus connections. You have 2,000 connections. You have 2,000 clients.
Exactly.
You have 10 clients. But they're so afraid of it. They're afraid people are going to see, and again, so what? And listen, if somebody leaves me to go to a competitor of mine, it was meant to be. I don't need to hold them on in my world. I'll get the next one that was.
We talk about that. I speak for CEO groups a lot, and unfortunately, they're a lot male-dominated groups, and that's exactly what they say. They're like, oh, "Well, I can't connect with them on LinkedIn. Yeah, they'll steal all my contacts." I'm like, they can steal all your contacts anyway. Like, if they want to know who you're with, LinkedIn is not this magic answer. And if you're that worried about keeping a client right, then there's something isn't right. You're not doing a good job.
Yeah, it's like, our clients aren't walking around with blinders on. They know that they have
There's
other
somebody
options.
just posted in here, which is great. Yeah. And it was a gentleman.
And this is Teddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Says we lose clients who we don't care for enough. Or don't care for us enough, not because we can see your list of connections. And you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so that kind of just ties it all back into, I love that you're doing these little small groups, Jenny, because I think as entrepreneurs, men or women, we don't have the support system that we had in corporate or have in corporate. We don't sometimes know that support system is that there is a support system. So by just your organization, just your meetings alone, never mind the masterminds, women start to learn, or entrepreneurs start to learn, that there are ways to be supported in your business goals by like-minded people. And that's a very important piece of it. By like-minded people, my family and my friends fully support me, but they don't get at all what I'm doing.
Tell me about it.
So yeah, when I was in Florida, I was staying with my parents, and Deirdre's here. I met with Deirdre in Florida, and I met with a couple of other online friends, and they're like, "Who are these people? You met them online? Like there's some, Craigslist psychopath, but they don't get it. They don't get it. So, Deirdre's giving me like, are you a Craigslist psychopath, Deirdre? So, but but they don't get it. So they support me, but they don't get it. So having that community of community of like-minded people is really key. And
no, you're right. And Karen, the crazy stuff I do, Karen knew that I was heading to New York on Friday, and then I posted on Facebook, and my friends are like, what? And then when I interviewed Hoda Kotb back in January, and Karen came down and did all the social media for it, but same thing. My friends are like, how do you do this stuff? I'm like, I ask. I know what I can do for my business. I don't always get yeses. I get a lot of no's, but I'm not afraid. But a lot of people don't get that. And that's why this support.
Well, if you don't ask, you always know.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed Marie Forleo the other day, and, because I asked her and said, I want to interview you. And she's like, okay. So, there's a lot of people that think, well, only the higher tier exclusive online marketers get those interviews, but that's not the case.
You have to ask.
That's not the
case.
And that was got to ask for them.
The Hoda thing. Karen knows. I put the event together, and then I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I'm pretty qualified to interview her. And I asked, and they were like, sure, you can do it. I was like, okay, that works.
That's terrific. And I think one of the challenges that women have is they think asking makes them needy, when it's the exact opposite. I find that asking makes me appear more confident. I'm not afraid to ask for help, to interview someone. I've got a podcast, and I reach out to women all over the world that are 7-figure entrepreneurs and ask them to be on my show. And I say, I have got an award-winning podcast. I make it like they'd be lucky to be on my show. I don't come like, please join my show.
And they are.
You. It all depends on your perspective and how you ask.
Right. So Teddy's saying you can ask as long as you're doing it politely and focused on helping others with your efforts. I agree with that. I agree with that.
I'm a big proponent of give. Give first and then ask. The more you get, and it comes back. I'm a karma girl.
Yeah.
I try to just, connect people and give and do whatever. And obviously things are coming back to me. So it's working.
Right. Teddy, that just reminded me of something that's actually came up for me this week. And I don't know if you guys get a lot of requests to speak on telesummits.
Me too.
And I definitely get a lot of requests to speak on telesummits. And I do them a lot, but I'm finding that the requests are getting less and less polite, I guess. There's a long list of requirements, and I get the reason for the list of requirements. I get that you want to make sure that you're providing value, and that if I'm speaking on this telesummit, that the other speakers are going to have a similar, size business or whatever. But at the end of the day, often the people running the telesummits don't even have anywhere near that level of stuff that they're asking us to do. And, I'm starting to I actually turned one down today. I hope you're not listening. I turned one down today because I just was like, I was just like, I can't, you must have, and I met all the requirements, but I don't know. I'm not loving the way the ask is happening on those telesummits lately. And I don't know why that feels icky to me lately.
Interesting. Well, I think, the asking part is critical, and also saying no. Women don't want to say no to anything. I used to agree to everything because I was like, I'm a new business owner. I've got to get my name out there. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to the opening of a drawer these days. It was ridiculous. So I was like, no more. And now I say, I'm going to say no, 2 to 3 times to everything I say yes to. And, I just have to do it.
That's a really good rule of thumb.
There is something to be said about helping others, but it's kind of like when you get on the airplane, like put that oxygen mask on first. Sometimes it was to the detriment of my own business. And I was like out doing everything. And then I'd come home and be like, oh my God, I've got my own event tomorrow.
Right. And then what happens too is often you're not doing as good a job as you would have liked to do. I'm thinking of an example right now. Somebody asked me to write an article for their magazine, and I was honored, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then the article I gave her is not my best work, let's just say, but I don't have time to rework it, because it's just didn't come at a good time, and I should have said no. I should have said no. And now I'm committed, so I've got to give it to her, and I don't have time to really rework it. And I don't love that either, so you're right. I love that. Say no.
Yeah, and you're right. I'm in a telesummit right now, and it's with a friend of mine, and I feel terrible because I was involved in another promotion. Actually, it was fine, but then the telesummit got moved. So I did tell her I'm not going to be able to do what I could have done for you. But yeah, and my husband says that to me all the time because I get asked, I'm not afraid to do things. So I get asked all the time to volunteer for things, with the kids' school. And he's like, at some point, you just have to say no. You can't, you could have your yeses. I mean, I do volunteer and I do things, but I can't do everything.
Yeah. I know. And that's definitely, we're all guilty of being those women because we do it all. I mean, we really should have like superhero outfits on. I mean, I'm, the same way. I volunteer once a week at my homeless shelter. I'm the class mom, and people are like, how do you do it? And I already said, next year, it's not happening. I've given it my all, and I got to retire the position.
I did. So, I was the hockey mom forever. I was the volleyball mom, the lacrosse mom. And then finally, when this business really took off, the other one, which was busy enough. And then now I'm running 2 businesses. I'm like, I can't do anymore. I'll be the hotel coordinator. If you need somebody to do that, I can do that. I need to be demoted.
That's awesome. So I just opened up the seat if anybody wants to jump into the conversation, talk about networking. And, me, I love that the conversation went a little bit to combining the online and offline networking. So that's a great direction to go if anybody's interested. I think that I do have a couple of, I did a telesummit recently because I really liked the person that asked me, I don't know. I've got to get better at, and you know what? I also have to remember too, when I make these commitments to do these things, it's not just me that's impacted. If I make a commitment to send one or 2 solo emails to my list, they're now impacted. They're now impacted, and they're trusting that what I send them is worthwhile. And some of these people I don't even really know, so I have no idea if the quality is going to be any good on the telesummit. So it isn't really about just getting my name out there anymore. It's really about being very picky, and in order to deliver the high level of service that I really want to continue to do.
Right. Good point.
So Jenny, are you thinking of franchising this concept? I mean, I know this concept exists, but I love the name. I know
I want a New Jersey one.
Yeah. So actually we are looking at New Jersey now, Karen.
There you go.
Ooh, well, let's talk. I'm happy to help you.
Since we started.
No, right.
Oh, wait, I should say no, right? Not yes. Did I just agree to do something else? 2 seconds after. I'm kidding. I'll help you.
Thank you. Well, since I started this, people have said, when are you coming to a city near me? And it was exciting, but I was like, I'm only one person. And I wanted to test it out in New York to the best of my ability and make sure that there was enough of a format, and people liked it to scale it. So now we're at that point where I'm looking to New Jersey because we've got a big following there of people that are coming in to Manhattan. So why not go to them, make it a little more convenient? We're going to be doing something in LA this year, looking at Chicago and Boston. So it definitely will be coming to a city near you soon.
All right. Well, I'm in DC, so
cool.
we've got a big women's group, women professionals here, and I'm in Washington DC.
Oh, nice. Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, I love that. So how will you do that, Jenny? Will you just host the event, and then find people in those areas to do it? I would imagine you'll be real hands-on at least.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's been a slow process because I am going to be very hands-on. And I think the way that we're going to beta test it is have ambassadors in these cities. So I've already reached out to people in LA and said, who's someone that's got, that has as big a mouth as I do, that loves supporting women, and that is willing to be an ambassador for Running with Heels. So because essentially I could get a guest speaker, I could be a guest speaker, I could certainly find a venue now. I mean, with technology today, it's like I could find a restaurant in Abu Dhabi as easy as I can in Brooklyn. But it's about getting those seats filled with the right women. So by partnering with women like me in different cities, they'll have the opportunity to highlight their businesses, have a speaking opportunity, reach out to their list to invite them to an exclusive event, and then we'll build it up that way. So at first, it'll be like a one-time sort of pop-up dinner in the cities to determine the interest. And it's going to be different in every city, what people like, what people want to see, what people want to hear about. So baby steps, but I will definitely talk to you guys about DC and New Jersey. That's exciting.
Yeah, no, it would be fun. It would be fun. And I would be happy to help you with that, because I love, listen, I love coming into the city, but if I'm driving into the city, it's a $75 expense on top of whatever that is.
Exactly.
For the parking,
you got to take the $40 bus.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I know it takes you spend less money to get there from DC than I do from New Jersey.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome.
Yeah, I think we don't have the right fit for that.
Yeah, I got that.
We're gonna.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. I'm just scrolling up. Let's see.
I did say restaurant in Abu Dhabi. Maybe he was in Abu Dhabi.
There you go.
Right.
They're being proactive. So how do you go about marketing for your event? We talk about get seen, be heard. How did you get, obviously you kind of have a waiting list and people are begging to do it, but what did you do at the beginning to get seen and be heard?
Yeah. So initially I put together that focus group of women. They told me what they liked and disliked. And I said to them, if I could create a platform based on your feedback, would you be willing to attend the event, give me additional feedback on the on-site experience? And if you like it, become an ambassador in that you'll share this with people that meet the appropriate criteria. And I mean, I think beyond a woman who moved out of town and couldn't participate, every one of them said yes. So they came to the event, and it was great because they were participating, but they were also like these mystery shoppers, looking around saying, well, we sat at one table longer than the other, or we like this match, but we'd rather have the speaker in between. There's also a speaker. So there's always a speaker that shares an inspiring story that's relevant to women, regardless of their industry. So people would say, we like that part because it's not only entertainment, it's education and empowerment. So once I had that group of women, they basically opened up their Rolodexes to sharing this with other women. And that's how our database initially expanded, where we had 30 women. And I said, if you'll each give me between 20 and 30 names of women. And I mean, before you knew, we had 1,000 people in the database. And it's really word of mouth. And people go on our website, request an invitation, and it's a 2-minute survey just to make sure that they meet the criteria.
So are they all entrepreneurs, or can they be working at a company? Do they have to be a certain level or anything like that?
So it's a senior level woman executive or a business owner that's been in business a minimum of 3 to 5 years, but most of the time our business owners have been in way longer.
I love that. So how big have you grown? I mean, obviously you started out with 1,000. It must just be getting exponential.
Yeah. So, in terms of our database, we're close to about 10,000.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. And it's exciting for me because obviously if it's invitation only, we don't advertise. So the only place besides my website is I partner with the Elevate Network, which is international, and I love them. And they were used to be 85 Broads, so they came out of the Goldman Sachs Women's Initiative. So they were almost all finance people, and then they brought in, now they're Elevate, and now they're business owners as well. So because I'm a member, I partner with them. They promote my events, but everybody goes through that survey.
Have you thought of doing a big one day kind of for everybody, thousands of people, or is that going against this whole grain of networking? Here's my card, getting to know people.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because I go to conferences for fear of that FOMO. I'm afraid I'm going to miss out on something. So I go to everything and then I kind of leave and I'm like, did I really get my time and my money's worth of being here? You know, and a lot of times, even though I'll see a lot of my clients there that I love seeing, I really walk out and I go, I didn't learn anything new. I didn't meet anyone new. And I don't want to be another person to do a conference like that. So my feeling is, you know, the next step for us may be more of a retreat scenario. Where again,
it's funny that you say that, because I would like to make a strategic introduction to you. I have a friend who was a television producer for 20 years. And 3 years ago, she left and started her dream, which is called Camp Powerment. And it's basically day camp for women entrepreneurs. And it's in, it's fabulous. It's in Malibu, but she's starting to move it. And she's got one partner in Miami, one in Brooklyn. So it's right there. You can meet with her and talk about it. But that just sounds like something that might be a great win-win for everybody.
You know, it's amazing that you're saying it. But first of all, my last name is Powers. So I love anything with Camp Powerment. But in addition to that, I went to an adult sleepaway camp this past fall called Soul Camp. And it was the most extraordinary experience. And I wrote about it actually for the Daily Worth and said, you know, it's the art of the do-over. I had a really sucky camp experience.
Well, that's what she said. Yeah.
And yet
I'm gonna put the link in here just so you can look at it, but I'll make the introduction.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, I went back as an adult and I loved it because it was like your reveille, the bugle go off, but you could just stay in bed. And you weren't forced to go into that cold lake. And it was great actually for networking also, because it was very heart-inspired relationship building.
Yeah. When they leave there, it's the people that are going there, and you're not allowed to say what you do. I think it's for the first 24 hours. Yeah. So you're just meeting people and then you find out who these people are. And it's like, whoa, you know, you're in with some big heavy hitters kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was so great to be with 10 women in a bunk, you know, and at night we're all talking, you know, stories, and we have all these topics to start conversations. And I shared things with those people that some of my closest friends had never heard. Yeah. So that was about like a different kind of networking, like heart-centered personal networking. We weren't out to get each other's business. We didn't care what anyone did for a living. And it was amazing. So I'd love to hear about that.
Karen, we were talking about, I said, what's the next step for you? And she said, you know, maybe like a retreat. And my friend has a camp. It's called Camp Powerment. And she started about 3 years ago. And it's a weekend day camp for women, you know, women business owners, entrepreneurs, that kind of thing. And it's amazing.
Fun.
So, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of people go to Soul Camp, Jenny, and I don't know that much about it, but I've seen a lot of people I know seem to have wandered their way in and out of that. Sounds like fun.
It's fantastic. You know, I met the founders of Soul Camp. I interviewed them for my podcast, and I told them how I was not a camp girl, that I did not like camp, expecting them to be camp lovers. And they said they had the same experience. And the Soul Camp is at the camp that they went to.
That's
really
great.
Cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and they do stuff like, you know, you can walk the high wire, and she's got great stories of people who left there. Like one woman, I think, was like 350 pounds, and she left and she lost like 100 pounds and tripled her business in a year. And it was just all from this confidence she got and empowerment she got from these other women. So just amazing stories.
Yeah. You know, somehow we went through high school where you hear about mean girls, and then we became grown-ups, and it just completely flips, right? There's just support. And you know what it is? The mean girls, there's no place for them in these things that we're talking about here. You know, so it's just so funny. I don't know why that just popped into my head, but you know, you hear about girls and you don't hear about support. You hear a lot about, you know, and I had a daughter that's, you know, she's 22 now. So you know, they can be brutal in those ages. And now we're like, you know, I don't care. Even with Facebook now, just connecting with the people that I went to high school with. Not that I really had any experiences. I don't want to say that I did, but it's so fun to see everybody just as one and not in the who can talk to who and can't talk to this one, or, you know, just all supportive of it. So it's nice to grow up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
You're right. I like when you said earlier about we should all have our superhero costumes on.
Yes.
Well, what's
Yes.
the TED Talk? It's the, did you know that?
Yeah, the stance.
The stance. Right. Like before you speak and before you go do something important, you're supposed to do the power, the Wonder Woman. And
yes, Amy Cuddy.
You're exactly right. That's exactly who it is. But that's it. It's like I said, just, and I joke, I call it girl power, but it really is that. I just think women, we do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. If it works, throw it in your toolbox.
Exactly.
I love it. So Jenny, what's next for you is you've got these masterminds and you've got, a dream of a kind of a camp. I love that. Do you expect, how do you think you would roll it into other cities? Like, how do you find those people? Do you think your network, this is kind of a leading question because I think, that's where your online and your offline networks started to combine, right? And
absolutely.
Right. And
Karen, you missed that. The one thing when we lost you for a second, I had asked Jenny, how big has this grown? Okay. And when she went from 1,000, she's now at 10,000 people on her list. Yeah. Is that amazing? That's what I said. I was like, wow. So, yeah.
Awesome. Would you consider doing more events? Like instead of doing a monthly dinner, do a twice a month dinner or 3 times a month or weekly dinners?
Well, I think, I like giving women the variety of like the dinner, the lunch, the special event, because I want to tap into different interests. I mean, originally I was strictly going to be dinner parties. And then a lot of, that was like what people loved. And then entrepreneurs said, a lot of us are solopreneurs working from home. We're waiting to come to these dinners till 7 o'clock. It would be great to do something during the day. So that's really how the lunches came about. And then as the women became friendly, they were like, we're doing all these social activities together. It would be nice if you hosted social activities. And that's when the museum tours started and the workouts started. We also have done community service together. And if you think you've seen it all, wait until you get a bunch of executive women in hairnets making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the shelter. So, we kind of cover all our bases to make sure that there's something for everyone in our community. So I don't know. And we do have a lot of regulars. So I think it might be taxing on their calendar to do more than one dinner because they love us, but they're also out there going to other events. So their schedules are pretty jam-packed already.
You're almost like a dating site, but it's like, like to do.
Yeah. Well, people say we're like speed dating.
Right. Exactly. That's funny.
But yeah, I love doing the exercising or just because I know sometimes like I get so busy. I mean, I haven't worked out in days. It's been a little cold too. But if I knew that I could go exercise and network and, I would love that. That would be great.
Yeah, that is fun. That would get me off my butt. That's for sure.
I know.
I whine about having to go a half hour to go to a yoga class from where I live. I don't know that I'd get on the bus and go to New York City for a yoga class, but I might.
Well, she's going to start in New Jersey here soon.
There you go. Uh-oh, I better watch out. My money where your mouth is.
Now, but Jenny, and because I kind of sidetracked a little bit because I got all excited about the Camp Empowerment. But again, this Get Seen, Be Heard, how did you grow it to 10,000? Was it strictly word of mouth? Did you start going on social media? Like, what did you do? Because, the money's in the list and everybody, how do I grow it? How do I grow it? And it sounds like you did it very organically. So I'd love to hear kind of step by step what you did.
Yeah, I did it organically. It was the only way I knew how. I didn't have a big advertising budget. I didn't have any budget. I started my business actually, and this is on the intro version of my podcast, but I essentially started my business with, I gave jewelry into cash for gold. Okay. So I have, I was married. I had this ex-husband. I had all this jewelry laying around, and it was just a reminder of him. And I was like, how can I turn this into something positive?
I love that story. Oh my gosh.
I saw the paper, this Cash for Gold ad, and I grabbed my friend and was like, okay, tomorrow we're going to this like hotel in Times Square. It was like a Hilton or something. It wasn't like some shady hotel. But nevertheless, there was still this like monster bouncer at the door with like a gun because people are giving it cash and gold. Yeah. And I mean, it was crazy, but I still, if I dig through my purse that's over here, I still have the receipt and I carry it with me every day because it was the reminder. I gave it in and I was kind of like, I don't even care what I get back. I wasn't going to negotiate. I wanted this stuff out of my house And I took that money, and that's how I built my website.
Wow.
So I built my website, I created my logo. So I did everything on the super cheap because I didn't have a choice. And, I didn't do Facebook ads. I'm a born and bred New Yorker. So all of my community is here in New York. So that's how I was able to pull that focus group together. I put stuff on Facebook, but to my own network. I put stuff on LinkedIn because I've got a very supportive LinkedIn community. And then I just got myself out there. I started writing for the Daily Worth. I launched my show on iTunes back in June. I did a TEDx talk 2 years ago. So I really just figured out ways to get my name out there. And the Daily Worth and the podcast have been great because it's allowed me to introduce myself to communities outside of New York. So when I am ready to launch in different cities, people may say, you know what, I've heard of that already, which would be great.
What was your TEDx talk on?
My TEDx talk was about how to live your life on purpose with purpose. And I don't know if I can sort of show my tattoo here, but it says, choose your own adventure. And this is new. It's about 2 weeks old, despite my parents and my husband's arguments with me. But it was all about the fact that as a child, there was this book series called Choose Your Own Adventure. And you would read the book, and everyone who read it would have a different outcome. So it would say, you're walking past this house.
I remember
kind of
that.
spooky.
Yeah.
What do you do?
If you do this, you go to this.
Okay. So exactly. And it was all about making decisions about how your journey would go. And I loved it. And I felt like so empowered as a child. But yet growing up as an adult, I lost that. I did what everybody else did in high school. I kind of followed people. I went to college where my boyfriend was going to college, kind of followed him. I married a guy people thought I should marry. And one day I woke up and was like, I was choosing my own adventure when I was 8, but now I'm 30 and I followed someone else's story. So when I got divorced, it was like, that was the time to choose my own adventure. And not that this has to do with networking, but it has to show with like getting out of bed when you don't want to. The day that I was moving and got divorced, I was doing this freelance job and they called me and said, we need you to start early. We need you to start today. And of course, all I wanted to do was like lay under my covers and cry, but I sucked it up and I went to work. And that very day I met the man who's now my husband of almost 10 years.
Wow, that's a great story.
And,
Love that.
And it was fantastic. So it was just like, get out, talk to people. You never know who you're going to meet. It was crazy, but it happened. And here we are 10 years later. So I realized that it's really about choosing your own adventure. I was in corporate before I started running with heels. And after 10 years as the vice president of a national nonprofit, I said, this is kind of feeling like that movie Groundhog's Day. Every day is looking the same. And I knew that I was an extrovert who loved networking and I hadn't found the proper home for me to network in. So I said, let me choose my own adventure. Let me create something. So I just got this tattoo 2 weeks ago to remind me forever to continue on my own path.
I'm laughing at not at your tattoo, but I have a 16-year-old daughter who, and I grew up in a different time. So I'm like, you don't want a tattoo? And she's like, well, what if I just got a great saying? And I'm like, oh God, I guess, she wants something inspirational. She doesn't want a picture. She wants something like that she can look at all the time and inspire.
Right. Yeah, those days are ahead, it's Christina, very shortly.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we were worried because she loves the fake tattoos. She's always covered in temporary tattoos. So my husband was like, "Don't encourage this." But you tell your daughter I waited until I was 44.
Well, nothing till she's 18 at least.
Well, you know what? When my daughter got her tattoo when she was 18, and a little bit of a sad story, she lost her best friend who passed away when she was 16. And all of the kids wanted to get like a tattoo for this kid. And I thought, I just don't want you to have like R.I.P. Shelley on your body. Like, to me, that I'm okay with honoring it, but you're 16, you're 18. So she walks in the door when she's 18 with this shit-eating grin on her face. And I'm like, what's going on? So she, like, under her boob here at the top of her thing, she just got Hakuna Matata, which I guess was something that they used to sing together. So in my head, you can guys can picture this as a mother. In my head, 100 miles an hour, all right, it's done. It doesn't say R.I.P. Shelley.
Right.
It's not on her face. It's not, you know what I mean? I was just like at 100 miles an hour, and I just high-fived her. You know what I mean? I was just like, good job. You know, you did good. Like, what are you going to do?
Right.
It's done. I could scream and yell and carry on, or just be glad that it wasn't, you know, something morbid and,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
At a place where not a lot of people are going to see it.
Yeah. And then she had another tattoo. I don't know how we got on this topic.
I know.
She had another tattoo
Blab.
where she's in Florida, and she's like, I'm going to get a tattoo. I love the beach. I'm going to get an anchor on my ankle. I'm like, you can't get an anchor on your ankle. She's like, why not? I'm like, because that's going to be like weighing you down your whole life. Like you want something that's going to lift you up. You know what I mean? You don't want something that's going to hold you down and hold you back. And so she's like, so she ended up getting waves.
There you go.
Know? So her crazy mother vetoed the anchor, and it was like, you can't do that.
Oh my gosh. All right, Jenny. So what's next? Like what, if somebody wanted to join your group, I know you talked a little bit about it, but you know, what's your website and how do they do the application, and you know, what's your next event coming up?
Okay. So thank you for asking. Our website is www.running-with-heels, HEELS.com. And the first stop should be to go to the request and invite tab. And like I said, it'll take about 2 minutes. It's very basic criteria. You know, what's your name? What's your address? Stuff to fill in. You know, where'd you go to school? What are your hobbies? And then once you are sort of approved through our system, you can go on and purchase tickets for an event. I know our next event is March 9th here in New York. And it's got this incredible woman by the name of Dr. Susan O'Malley, who is a cosmetic surgeon. And she's the author of a book called Tough Cookies Don't Crumble. And it's this phenomenal true story of perseverance. So she was rejected from every single medical school in the country. Wow. And I was like, wait a minute, every single medical school? And she was like, honey, at my age, there weren't a lot of them. She was rejected from every single one. And at the age of 35, she was pregnant. Her partner left her, and she reapplied, got into Mount Sinai. And by the time she graduated med school, had her little boy up on the podium picking up the diploma with her.
Love that.
And it's this incredible story. And talk about like word of mouth networking. I think she said she took a tiny office space and put out a $75 ad and got like a landline and sat there waiting for the phone to ring for her spa. You know, and now she runs the Thonis Medical Spa in Connecticut and has this booming business, is a, you know, published author, speaks around the world. So she's our next speaker on March 9th. And it's an incredible restaurant. Karen, it's actually at the restaurant that you joined us
yummy.
at.
That was
Raphael.
fabulous.
So it's a great Italian restaurant. In fact, Raphael, the chef, just won the show
Chopped.
Oh, really?
So he's a celebrity also. Yeah.
Oh, how exciting.
Yes.
And you knew him when?
Yeah. I did, exactly. We knew him for years.
Didn't you grow up with him or something?
So he, talk about networking. So he lived in the building that I grew up in as a kid. But when I moved out, he moved in, but my dad still lives there. So we met in the elevator. You know, he's telling me about a restaurant he owned. And I said, you can have a private room. And he said, no. And I went and checked out the spot. And he's got this wine cellar that he wasn't necessarily going to use for events. So we were his first event. And now we're there all the time.
That's great.
Yeah. So like I said, the best place to go is right to our website. That's sort of our main hub. Request and invite. All of our events are listed there. Our Running with Circles mastermind programs are there. The link to my show is there.
Awesome. Awesome.
Fabulous. Thanks so much, Jenny, for being here with us. Christina, you want to tell everybody about our guests next week?
Yes, I am super excited. It's going to be energy filled. Kristen Thompson from Speak Serve. It's Rock Your Talk is her big thing. And she's a public speaker, and you know, she's just really dynamic on stage, and how you can get paid to speak, how you get a speaking opportunity, how you can sell from the stage. She's just, that is her genius and her brilliance. And I know there are so many people who say, you know, I want to speak, I don't know how to get paid to do it, I don't know how to be successful at it. So it's going to be a great show. I'm super excited.
Yep, it's Speak, Serve, Grow.
So
and
thank
I
you.
just put the link to the show
Awesome.
in the chat. So if you're watching this live or on replay, you can click that link and subscribe so you don't miss next week's show. Jenny, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to hearing about your New Jersey adventures.
Yes, I will definitely reach out to you. Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Awesome.
And we're
Thanks,
here
everyone.
every Thursday at 2:30. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today on our Blab series, Get Seen, Be Heard. If you've missed any episodes, you can always find us at www.getseenbeheardtv.com/YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll always be notified when we upload a new episode. We work together with clients, helping them combine social media and PR to get more customers and grow their business. If that sounds like something you'd like to learn more about, visit us at www.soartoprofit.com. We have regular workshops where we combine our expertise and show you how to use social media and publicity to get seen and be heard. See you next week.